My name is Lois Odo, and actually Lois Odo Odhiambo. People usually think that Odo is the short name of Odhiambo, but no, Odo is my name as well. Lois Odo. I was actually named after my great grandmother. That was mom's grandmother. How cool! Yeah, so I'm Lois Odo Odhiambo. I have another name, Achieng. Achieng means sunshine. I think I love just bringing light into other people's lives. So, yeah. How it all started, I think my brother has another side of the story that he'd want to bring out to you. But let me just take a pinch of it. If ever he finds the opportunity to give you this other side, let it be so. But for now, I'll just give you a pinch of it. So I remember many times when we were growing up, I used to go to a corner somewhere and I just do recitations. I used to recite. So I would also just do role plays. Like I take up a character in a movie I've watched or a program, and then I just start acting. I'm there talking to myself. I could even do two characters. So I'm talking and then I'm answering myself back. I'm talking and answering myself back. It was quite interesting. So my brother used to find me doing that and he used to wonder what's wrong with you, because I used to do it so many times. But then I realized that I really loved to speak, and I really loved to speak in front of people. And all this time, I didn't know I was training myself how to put myself out there and to put my voice out there. So it was like a training ground by default. So I did that for quite some time, and I also remember just reading so many storybooks. Oh, I loved reading storybooks. All the Ladybug stories. If you all know Ladybug stories, yes, I was a pro at Ladybug stories. From Cinderella to, all this. I read almost every book. Jack and the Beanstalk, Chicken Licken. Wow, I read so many books. But also I was well grounded in in English. I actually went through a school, my early years. I went through a school, that's Thika Road Christian School, and they were very, very good with English and just teaching languages in general. So my grammar was refined over there. And I think any other person who's from TRCS, when you hear them speak, I mean, they're on levels that are not just normal levels. Yeah, I can say that. So yeah, from there we did a lot of public speaking sessions as well. We had we just did quite a lot in terms of enabling ourselves to speak well and to speak in front of people. I remember there was a time we had a certain essay competition, and it is about the Day of the African Child, if you know that day, the International Day of the African Child. And they were looking for writers to just come and write about they had a theme definitely, and so our focus was on the theme that they gave it to us. And I was there, I wrote, I did my essay. It was it was one of the best. Actually, it was the best because I remember being picked. I don't remember anyone else, but honestly speaking, I don't know if I went there alone. But anyway, let me just say I was one of the best, among the best. So we were chosen to go to celebrate the Day of the African Child at the Arboretum in Nairobi, Kenya. And man, it was such a beautiful event. I was given an opportunity to speak on behalf of children in Africa, and I think that's a time I realized that, wow, I'm not just meant to be average. I'm meant to be way up there. And it's something I always still have in my head. And people keep telling me that as well. And I always passed my spelling bee tests. I don't remember one that I ever failed. No, I always passed my spelling bee tests. I always passed my spelling bee tests. I just loved language. I just loved the idea behind language. I just loved speaking. I loved writing. I loved reading. And all these attributes, I think, have helped me become who I am today as I speak to you about my profession in communication. I think that is how it all started. And then one interesting story, by the way, that I don't want to leave out. Mom. Yes, mom. Mom is one person who has pushed me to learn to speak well and to learn to communicate. She's one person you could be saying, you could be in a conversation with her right now, and she stops you just to correct grammar in whatever it is that you've said. And then you're like, but mom, you should have just waited. We finished this conversation is when you bring in that correction. But no, she's always just quick to correct to ensure that we speak well and we speak right. And so she's one person who's pushed me to the limits. And she gives us stories. You know these set books. Mom, by the way, is a teacher of English, right? Let me a teacher of English and literature. And she gives us storybooks. You know those set books that they have in high school? She gives me all her set books. Actually, right now, last week, she gave me a set book called Fathers of Nations. She told me it suits me because I have worked in an international sphere, especially in the African continent, and it would be prudent for me to understand such a book and draw a lot of lessons from it because they talk about the politics of the world and how leaders are, you know. So yes, that's one book that is on my desk that is waiting for me to read. So that's Mom. And I think now venturing into journalism and media and communication, I must say the transition was not easy from high school to now choosing a career. I think everybody grapples with that. It's not easy for everyone. And of course, there's this thing of your parents want the best for you, and of course, they will suggest. So sometimes, yes, they will suggest, hey, parents who have, I mean, people who have parents who suggest, I know you're many, but yes, there are suggestions, of course. But then, of course, there's also that thing of, mom, dad, I think I can do this. Just give me this one chance and I'll do it. And I enrolled for broadcast journalism at the United States International University. And at that time, I was just like, wow, I think this is where I've always wanted to be. And it was also Dad's dream because he always kept telling me that is where he wants me to be. So that's where I enrolled for my course in journalism. And man, I was doing well. I was passing with flying colors. And there's this time when you do so well, you're actually honored just at the door of the cafeteria. So there's this semester where I just saw my name there and I was like, wow, Lois, you were born for this, you were made for this, so cheer up. So that's what kept me going at some point. And I joined journalism club. I joined the international relations club where we had mock debates with the Model United Nations, just getting opportunities to go and speak about things happening around the world. I loved researching. I loved coming up with arguments, real time arguments that I thought then could change the world. I don't know if I did, but yes. And that mattered a lot to me. I loved conversations around peace and conflict and leadership. And I always pushed myself to speak. And one thing that stands out, by the way, across my education, I was always the one picked to do presentations in my class. So that consistency actually contributed or has contributed to me learning how to speak well. And I just want to draw some of those, some of those inspirations to let you know how it all started. So that's how it all started with me. That's how I got to where I am today. So for me, when I talk about communication, I don't think it's one thing that I woke up one day and I wanted to do. I feel like it was inborn. I feel like it was something that I even did in my mother's womb. I don't know, but yeah, because I don't only feel it, but people also say I do it really well. And so I'm humbled, like truly humbled. And I think there's still much more for me to do. There's still a lot, much more to learn in this field, in this area. So that's basically how it started. I mean, you could also just share with me your journey. I know everybody has their own experience and how it is they transition from, school to work. And sometimes I know it's challenging, but sometimes it's smooth. I mean, our stories are different. So feel free to engage. Feel free to call me. Feel free to just, comment and let me know what you think. Thank you.